Let's talk about rest pause for rehab. Rest pause is a popular approach in the bodybuilding world where it's used to increase the intensity, usually for hypertrophy and for strength purposes. And it was pretty popularized with the old book Super Squats a long time ago, maybe 20, 30 years ago, where the old 20 rep squat sets where you pick a heavy weight that you could do 10 reps with, and then you continue to do about 20 reps for total. So you would work and then you would rest and pause for a short period of time, short rest, and then you would crank out as many more as you can and rest appropriately. And it's a nice way to increase the intensity. If anyone's ever done it, it's really intense and it's difficult. Now, let's regress that a little bit and make it more appropriate for the rehab population, where usually in mechanical, like say mechanical low back pain, where there's a movement patterning that is involved that's limited and that's affecting a person's ability to do a specific movement pattern. And now here's the thing about the rest pause approach for rehab. It's already assuming that you've been evaluated and assessed by a medical professional, you've been treated, and you're already out of pain. It's not something that's going to cure or get rid of your pain acutely, and it's not something you do to treat the pain. It's more on the category of prevention, all right? So you shouldn't have pain to do it the way I'm going to describe. So it would be more of understanding your patterning that got you into trouble in the first place. So if you had a history of, let's say, a common example is low back pain, and let's say a movement such as squatting, if you work out and you lift weights, and with the squatting, you have a tendency of extending your lumbar spine, rotating your pelvis forward, sticking your butt out, which shifts your center of mass forward onto the front part of your feet. And then that extra load creates more stress to your lower back. So you start feeling the back, not pain necessarily, but you start feeling like your back muscles are working a lot more than they need to or usually do, okay? So you would use that as an indicator of when you've fatigued those stabilizing muscles that oppose those spinal extensors and the muscles that rotate that pelvis forward. So in general, you're training to the point of fatigue of those opposing stabilizer muscles to keep you in a better positioning so that you have an overall successful movement, in this case, the squat, right? So quick example is, let's say you're doing a back squat, you put a weight on it that you could do 10 to 15 reps, okay? Or just use the bar and then do as many reps as you can before you start feeling, not pain, but you start feeling like the back muscles are working more than they did in the beginning, that it's taken a little bit more effort to get in a better position to offset those back muscles and to, in this case, shift more towards the back of your heel, towards your feet, to engage the bigger hip muscles like the gluteals or the upper hamstrings. So you would do that to fatigue until you start feeling those muscles working, the back muscles, let's say, or it's more difficult to keep that position. Then you would unload, rack the bar, you would rest a little bit, short rest. You could do what I call the hocks and shakes. Maybe I'll do a video on that one day where you're just shaking with your breath, with your exhalation, just to release any residual tension. Maybe do a quick reset to engage the upper hamstrings and the abdominal obliques, and just tucking that pelvis in for a moment with your breath. And then that brief rest, you go back, rack the bar, get in position, and do again as many as you can with that good opposed positioning so that the back isn't the only guy working and everybody's working together. Do that to failure and repeat and rinse and do it over again. So you do that until you can't even get one more rep with good positioning, good form or technique. And this way, it's very beneficial. It's a quick way because it's increasing the intensity of the stimulus, forcing you to have better stability, better control of maintaining that positioning as the muscles start to fatigue. And what you're really doing is you're improving the capacity, the endurance capacity of those opposing muscles of the muscles you habitually and historically tend to engage. So in this tech, try it out. You can learn a lot from the bodybuilding methodologies in rehab. And it's not just about hypertrophy and isolation, which, by the way, there's no such thing as isolation in our body. Everything's always working integrated. You just have to understand how the body works. We like to think, we like to isolate things because we like to control, but the fact of the matter is we're one whole integrated human being.